30 tahun yang lalu, junta militer merampas anak-anak dan suami mereka yang tercinta. Hingga kini mereka masih berteriak menuntut agar korban yang hilang itu dikembalikan dalam keadaan hidup.
Jangan pernah takut untuk 300 kali lagi kita akan datangi tempat ini. Mencari kesaksian. Dia ditembak ketika sedang menolong seorang korban.
Para ibu yang kehilangan suami dan anak-anak tercinta. Tiap Kamis selama 30 tahun melakukan hal yang sama. Berjalan di Plaza de Mayo, meneriakkan hal serupa.
Like for my generation, it's for me also. You know, like I'm a victim also for many propaganda in my country. So I have close friends, Suciwati is Munir's wife, and then I know she's a very, you know, like very hard fighting about the justice because the husband. You know about the story about the husband. It's on the way to here, yes, I think, and yes. Then someone get the poison and pass away, and then so I look her, and then so many people still fighting, and then you know like never give up to get the justice. So actually, I really appreciate. I really you know like adore to them, and then because you know I never had experience like that, and then I can imagine how come they can live because so many intimidating, and then so many you know like so many like sadness, and then like they afraid every day, you know like. So you know like I make short stories, but it's nothing. It's like a wind, like nothing. And then after that, like okay, maybe I wanna make a movie. It's just like this is only like tools for my fighting because I wanna talk to many people, but not really like straight to the forward. Because in Indonesian people, they really like everything like polite. You know, they scared, and then like me, of course, I'm so naive because I was thinking, you know, like the documentary, it's easy to find. So I'm going to many like museum, library in Indonesia, but I can't find it. You know, like so many like story about 69 until 70. We don't have anything about the communism and then about the human rights issue. So finally, I found someone calling me, and then I never met him, and then I don't know him actually, but he gave the documentation. Okay, happy you can use for your movie, and then but I choose is just a little bit because I don't wanna too hard, because I wanna give this movie for many people in Indonesia, for the student. You know, if I'm making it very controversial, they will be shocked, and then maybe I will be disappear. So I need like more, you know, like more propaganda, very, you know, like simple. But after that, I hope people really care and really want to know about what happened. The truth, it's our country.
What are the responses that you get from young Indonesians that watch your film?
Actually, I give this movie for the, you know, the demonstration Kamisan. The contrast is like 2 months ago, and then you know like they all really happy and appreciate. I'm so thankful also because after that, like many people, like student and young generation, asking me for when watching that movie, and then they make a screening in many places in Indonesia.
Because in your film, it's more of a feeling that you get from what has happened, but you're not specifically saying in this year this happened, and this year this happened, and these are all the people that come every Thursday to demand for justice. What was the reason why you chose this approach?
Because I just want to talk about the humanity, and then because like I know my family, I know me, I know my country, I know how to talk with them,
Thank you very much. I was just wondering, basically it's a question for all three of you. How do you feel artists play a role in opening up space to discuss difficult issues like East Timor or what transpired in '65?
I really realize about that, so that's why it's my propaganda also in my country. Because sometimes, I meet with many people, like the mainstream people, and they don't know anything, really anything about the human rights. So we can talk about really like light, and then they're not scared. It's not intimidating.
Of course, it's up to artists what to do, but they have the great benefit, if I compare to most of the scholarly work, more people, it's open to more people simply because it's the type of media will reach a broader audience.
Yeah, I agree that artists have more creative means to put things on an agenda, which to my mind becomes absolutely unavoidable. 1965 cannot be hidden anymore. In families, third generation, kids are starting to ask questions. And maybe grandparents are not willing to answer right away, but it is moving around. The act of killing helps a little bit. And also among a new generation of historians, there is a new curiosity to find out what happened. There are many more means in terms of media. You can make with a new app, for instance, a whole map of mass graves in Indonesia, which cannot be forbidden by the government. So there are so many possibilities. So I think films like your film that makes clear that things within, if you show that, my guess would be that within families this issue will be discussed.
Do you think right now here we talk a lot about the First World War because it's 100 years old, so next year the killings are 50 years old. Will this be a possibility to bring the story to a broader audience in Indonesia? Do you think this is a chance, or will it be kept to a small elite of people in the known, or what would it need to make it more exclusive or popular to talk?
It's too hard, finding the producer and investor for making a movie. It's very hard, and in the industry, movie in Indonesia is still struggling. But yeah, I hope one day, because that's my dream also. I really wanna, the real story about the past.
And a slightly more democratic Indonesia might help as well. So the choice of the next president is crucial.
Yeah.
If it's a former president, military like Prabowo, who has staged his last campaign meeting like a Mussolini on a horse with a whole military parade, that is really scary. So, but under Widodo, he has other things on his mind, but at least there is a bit more openness. So it will be a bit more easy to talk about these things.
Isn't it true that scientists, that researchers would have a role to play? And don't you think our position in the West is rather cowardly now? if we would be more critical with the West, with the imperialistic role that the West and America #1 is playing all the time in the world, that would help all the problems in the rest of the world.
And moreover, there's a strange myth about the role of the CIA. The PKI was a completely legal organization.
Where should we start to look if we want to understand violence in Indonesia today?
Well, step, I'm not sure what you talked about, Lilo, referring to the act of killing. It's the role of the militias, of civilians being used by political parties and authorities to use violence. And this is a long legacy dating back probably to the Indonesian Revolution. And it's very, you can see it in Latin American countries also. If the army is starting to give people arms, then things really go out of hand. It's the road to disaster.
But the point Peter makes is very important. I think there's a longer history to political violence in Indonesia, and you see it rising during the revolution, again in 1965, again in 1998 and afterwards. And you see the same mechanism taking place. When the central power falls apart, there is no monopoly of power anymore. There's enormous political anxiety that has to do with regime change, and people don't know what will happen. That is accompanied by large-scale mobilization. During the Japanese occupation, it was huge mobilization. So people were ready to fight for something, and sometimes they really didn't know quite what. In 1965, the same. Political parties were official. There was no parliament. So if you want to make a political statement, you stage a demonstration. So there was huge anxiety and a sense of regime change and mobilization. And then again, this sense of if there's a big problem, the final solution is in violence.
What you didn't see were the local militias, the Timorese who were supporting the Indonesian army. So you see them recurring in different conflicts, in different times, and there's something in for them. Of course, they don't do it for nothing. So that's a real major problem, structural problem. And I wouldn't have a straightforward solution. I mean, this is very complex.
And it will be a very dirty campaign after in May and June, when he has to face Prabowo. Prabowo will use all his dirty tricks, and it could be really dangerous for him. But then once he is in charge, there is a bureaucracy which is so corrupt, and there is a system that still relies partly on violence, so also that will need a lot of time. Expectations are so high. The beautiful thing is that people still believe in democracy, and they have still hope that the system can be improved. There is a remarkable absence of cynicism, and maybe that's something the Dutch audience sometimes should learn more about, that how despite all the evidence against it, people in Indonesia, ordinary voters, are extremely democratic. You don't need to learn Indonesian society what democracy is about. You should teach politicians what it is about. But they still come in mass numbers, huge numbers, to the voting ballot. Whereas the Dutch tend to stay away and complain on a regular basis. So there is a remarkable difference.
I was actually in Jakarta the day that Jokowi announced that he would run for presidency, and that was the talk of the day. Everybody was like stuck to the TV, and they were apparently the rupiah also went up. So like stock exchange, everybody went completely crazy. So and it was really the talk. Everybody was like, yeah, Jokowi is going to be the guy. So it's true. There is really a lot of optimism when it comes to Jokowi.
Everyone being really happy and excited about Megawati. And after now, a lot of people are very disappointed and we voted for them. Yeah.
I hope, like Jokowi, it's it's our future,
When she met Jokowi, she said that the tax for cultural performances or culture are equally high as those that you pay if you have a massage salon, and so she asked him to lower that so that actually the money can be used for more culture in Indonesia. I hope that's the right translation.